intro where they were absolutely dominating their game versus Bigetron, and they were like, "Hey, what if we just took a 2v3?"
Yeah, and that was spectacular. They even brought in the Vayne over on the Dragon lane, and now heading into this draft, it's Geek Fan on the blue side. They will be able to secure their very first pick. And from what I see, if we compare the two sort of styles of play coming from Geek Fam as well as Amihan Esports, yes, they do have very good individualistic talent. Well, I'm getting tongue-tied for a little bit, but I'm not seeing too much of the cohesion when it comes down to team fight. But heading in towards the bans, we have the Gragas as well as the Jarvan locked away. But I mean, Esports, they're taking away Rumple's signature Lee Sin alongside with the Ziggs.
Yeah, I'm liking these early ban phases so far. Things that are still up on the table I want to talk about. Down in that AD carry lane, we still have Kai'Sa out in the pool. She's considered very powerful right now, especially for these team fight focused teams. And we still have Xayah in the pool, which is very important for both of these teams' play styles. Our first cycle of picks is going to be a Camille over to Geek Fam with a Xayah and a Garen to follow. Amihan got themselves a Renekton and a Galio.
I was actually expecting the Shang to pick up this Camille since that they've locked in the Garen. This is where they have to find a way to stall this Renekton from, of course, getting too huge from the early game. And it definitely was a nuisance. Amihan Esports having Carl to dominate and lead the way when it comes down to all these team fights. And the Kai'Sa is now landed on the hands of Amihan Esports as well. So you can see that they do have many sort of setups of the dive. And this is the first time that we are seeing the Akali being brought to play. Let's talk about this pickup here for Mitsura, because there's so much nerves going on with the Akali. Now she doesn't get as much energy, but Geek Fam opts to counter that by taking Twisted Fate, by popping the Destiny. They could see her through the shrouds.
I mean, this is really fun because we were having this conversation on the desk as the kind of games were going on just one game ago. How do you feel about the Xayah Galio combo versus the Rakan, the Kai'Sa Galio combo versus the Rakan Xayah combo? They're both built around those hard carry AD carries in the bottom line.
Well, I definitely do like a different form of pick that actually does still complement each other pretty well. Yes, traditionally, Xayah and Rakan will be the best go-to option, but Kai'Sa can always dive hit first instead of just relying on that Rakan. And now, moving into this game, we are seeing a two-man setup over to mid, and Becky is already getting cooked for a slight bit. A very standard start of items from both ends, and the big grand entrance coming in, putting Mitsura very low.
Yeah, we'll kick things off here for Geek Fam versus Amihan. Amihan coming in as the first seed out of the Philippines region, coming in as the expected favorite, I think it's fair to say. Geek Fam had a rocky season. They were, for a very long time, the best team in the Malaysia region. They're an expected favorite, very popular in the region, especially across other titles, other games as well. And then they lost. They tripped at the finish line, come into this tournament as the second seed with a lot to prove, Contra.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to actually carry that sort of vibe back into this group stage. Now, this is a beautiful dive onto Mitsura.
Very clean.
Very easily done by
And this is what we wanted from Geek Fam. You know, they haven't been able to live up to their reputation internally in the region. They do that. It's all about this early game aggression that's going to get them a good start like that. And all of Geek Fam stay roaming with 4 players now on the bottom side of the map, setting up for the early picks around this scuttle. That means we get a fight, a good taunt, a good knock-up, and Rumple is gone despite it all. This setup for Amihan was focused entirely around a single player in the river. Demon's just able to sweep up and detonate a kill right back over with that Kai'Sa early game damage.
That was a really rough contest for that Scuttle Crab, which I don't really felt it was even necessary for Geek Fam at all. And once they spotted out that Wukong, they should have actually known that they've already got much information on where the support whereabouts are, and it was a instant response from Amihan to be able to punish them for going all the way in. Now, the Shang for the bot side against Demon. Let's talk through this lane swap that we are having as well, and how this could potentially put Momo ahead.
So we do have Demons still here on the bottom side. What Geek Fam have done, and what they're very used to doing in the region, is shifting their AD carry lane up top early and giving Momo this opportunity to burn down plates, get an advantage in line.
We'll just be camping on the Trabush for a little bit, and we are already seeing pretty much the crystals all being built up. It will be an early Rod of Ages for Ozora just to get a little bit of extra stats, not only in terms of the usual health as well as mana. Of course, it will look to be scaling it towards the late game, which Geek Fam aims to do. Now, heading in towards any sort of team fight, they will have to really rely on Rumple for any sort of setup with the Hextech Ultimate as well. But how do they actually go through against this heavy frontline opposition of Amihan Esports? Now we have that.
They see the Momo's the focus. Amihan see the full attempt to boost Momo out ahead. And then Momo gets left alone in lane. And it's a full gank, an easy kill. This is a bit of a turret race. First break will go over to Amihan, boosting them significantly ahead. They get the kill and the first turret bonus gold. However, Geek Fam should be able to find the equal in this opposite lane. If the Thoros can't do something remarkable here. Dive in, Tor will land. Here's the flank in from Jelson. Coming out of the jungle on the Wukong, dropping the Cyclone, and it's a follow-up. Heroic entrance, cast to point-blank range. Ozurabeki's caught out, and Ozurabeki's down.
Oh boy, Geek Fam doesn't seem to have enough damage or attack speed to actually clear off the first tier 1 turret for themselves over on the Baron lane. And not only that, it was a 2 versus 3, and now this is Momo just surviving with a tick of HP. Oh boy, countless lucky stars, and now Geek Fam is still at it to try to secure their very first turret.
Yeah, so overall, that trading we just saw breaks very positively for Amihan. They're able to get the bot lane turret, they deny the take up top, and they find a kill with it, now looking for more. Thoros will again soar out of the jungle on the Galio, looking for that engaged taunt, this time with Mitsura close behind. We're seeing the style of gameplay that Geek Fam normally benefits so much from, Contra, where they're just able to deny a standard laning phase. What's going wrong?
Well, I guess that they are too heavily focused on this Baron lane, and you can see how well Amihan Esports protect this. And not only that, Amihan Esports have sneakily taken down the very first Drake, and Mountain's going to be adding on to their survivability. You have the Galio as well as the Wukong that can actually soak more in team fights. So that will spell trouble for Geek Fam much later on. Now, looking at the itemization as well, I guess just like how HungryCast always mentioned, this is the sort of build that you do have for Kai'Sa. Yes, it does look like scrap loot in general, but it will upgrade the Cathian Rain.
Yeah, I think that's a fair summation to go back to your first point. The Geek Fam, or like they're getting the game state they want, which is this hyper aggressive, messy, skirmishing, just rolling fight. But it's not going their way, perhaps because of the tunnel vision up top on that top turret. I would also flag just how well Amihan are responding, as you did. They've got a very good sense of where Geek Fam's forces are. Currently, Geek Fam trying to respond to that first strike take by bringing everyone in to fight this Rift Herald. Shang up the front lines, zoning, building space for the rest of the team, as Garen does. Half HP on this Rift Herald. So around the side, we'll pop the Dominus and full engage, and it's a big knock-up in the meantime as Jelson starts the fight. Heroic entrance comes in as well for Amihan, and they get the full engage. The Shang's very low, but able to step into the front lines and shut down Jelson. Orthoros will fall, but it does not matter. Mitsura comes through. Close behind him is Carl, and Demon's still alive to pick up the kills they need. A triple kill to Matsura, and Amihan get the Oppo ace.
Wow. Such a beautiful fight for Amihan Esports, and you could clearly tell that Orthoros is willing to pull the hero's entrance just at the right time when they just dove into the jungle. And Geek Fam, they are pretty much separated, and Ozorveki could not possibly do all too much by the very end. Now it's 8-4. The gold discrepancy is going to be increasing from this point onwards, especially when you've already got the Rift Herald being popped up. Just 15 HP on the mid turret. Anybody could have just landed an auto attack and it will crumble.
We get a Globe Rift Herald charge. And everything you want. As Amihan have a pretty devastating early game lead at this point. And we talked about how Geek Fam had done a decent job kind of achieving the chaos that they want. If you're new to Wild Rift, if you're watching Wild Rift for the first time, it's not always this bad. It's not always this chaotic. But this is Geek Fam. They thrive in the chaos, except for this time, because Amihan have matched their rotates across the map, matched their chaotic playstyle, and been able to keep pace.
Exactly just that, right? They just read them like a book, and no matter how hard they try to actually force some of all these small little skirmish or team fights, Geek Fam is actually taking the short end of the stick. Now that you have a couple of all these core items up available, this Akali's gonna hurt for a tad bit. Flash being popped here by Ozorveki, Destiny moving in towards the mid side, but they won't be able to actually get anything out of this though.
Yeah, talk me through that. What was that for?
I guess it's just an escape. I don't think this is any good of a situation. And oh, here comes Amihan.
Yeah, Mitsura just walks up, takes the turret. They get a free kill. The Shang is in trouble. 1v3. He'll go down as well. And that was the strangest play I've ever seen on the map around a Destiny. Geek Fam bring all their forces into the middle of the map where they're surrounded.
Oh boy, it goes from bad to worse. I honestly couldn't really put words to what I've just witnessed, but Rumble now is going to be in trouble. I guess that's the good way to put it. And I guess
those are the words.
There might just be even harsher words that we could actually throw out, but Becky here might just be able to secure that kill. But Mitsura just got 1 HP literally to walk out of that.
And that's maybe the second time this game that an Amihan Esports player has walked away from Ozorveki on a sliver of HP. Got to be a little bit frustrating for the Geek Fam captain in the mid lane. Amihan, in the meantime, do get their second Drake of the game, an Infernal Drake, as they continue to march forwards. Now a 10,000 gold lead, 3 turrets to none, and an overall solid control of the match.
I still really want to pick their brains for a little bit on what they are trying to achieve, and here comes Hero's entrance, and Mitsura will still be able to survive out of that.
It saves him!
Again and
again. I don't believe it! Mitsura gets away. What a play. This is time and time again a huge saving grace of this team as Athora's on the Galleon. A little duel between the two ball laners here. Carl just sweeping through, does get caught inside the Hextech ultimatum, but it is not enough to turn the button. Here's the Baron start in the meantime. Demon thriving in the midst of this. Nyx chunked down by a Void Seeker will fall. It's a good blade caller. It slows down Chelson, but it doesn't save Momo, who will fall to the Acathian reign of Demon on a rampage currently. A couple of games in a row that the Amihan AD carry has absolutely dominated. Spending this game 4 kills, no deaths, 7 assists. A very solid performance on a Fed Kaiser.
Amihan Esports definitely know their win conditions. They are absolutely bullying Geek Fam out of this one. And Geek Fam is not even thinking about getting anywhere close to this Baron Pit as much as they do have 4 of their members online. But we'll look to first secure more of these items. Static Shift already available, but they are working towards that Infinity Edge. So I believe that there's only one way that Geek Fam could potentially pull this out if we first watch how Buriram United has done it. They try to look for some split push,
oh, no.
but okay. Let's see how long he lasts.
Becky. Yeah, I mean, maybe wins the 1v1. Now it's a little messier though. Good call. I mean, I respected the choice to make sure our viewers didn't have to watch that. As the entire team sweeps down, Carl gets a double kill. Absolutely destroying the fight. This is a terrifying Akali at this point.
And what's more terrifying is the Renekton coming right in.
Yep, Amihan not waiting around. Look to make as much of a dent in this game as possible, Contra.
Yeah, now having absolute map control, Amihan Esports still has the Baron power play as well. So this will still take quite a while for Geek Fam to juggle with the pressure of the waves from all ends. A 1-2-2 split going on, and of course the Gallo can just hop right in if there's going to be any potential trouble. Mitsura happily moves right in, while Jelson will be knocked up in the air, but this will not call for any sort of team fight as the bottom inhibitor will be opened up, and I expect the mid to be getting exactly the same for Amihan.
Yep, the Oppo Baron power play will claim its second inhibitor turret. I'm going to go for all three. Amihan not content till they've eradicated every single turret. And this means you get a fight. A deep dive from Nyx is eaten alive. He's gone. And there's the follow through behind the turret. But Sura's tanking Vex's turret shots and will finally die as a result. But there are no turrets left on the map for Geek Fam. Amihan are looking to close this game out in style. Ozraveki is able to find a decent amount of poke damage from outside the Nexus, though. And that will force a reset. That will force some recalls. Maybe a little bit more time for Geek Fam to think about what went wrong.
Well, I guess they will go into very deep thoughts about that right after this. I don't really see how they could actually come back from nearly a 20,000 gold deficit. And here comes the Cloud Drake to make matters worse.
I've got a question. Do you think Amihan do the Cloud Drake, or do they just end the game?
Honestly, they could do both. You know, like
You think they're doing Cloud Drake and ending the game simultaneously?
Yeah, if you can actually put a little bit more pressure on the map, but I believe it should be easy to break, since that the waves are pretty much
doing
pushed out there, and they don't even need anybody else here to help Jelson overall. Just look at the items, and he didn't even bother about getting a Guardian's Angel. That's where, like, you know, Geek Fam didn't seem like they were a threat overall.
I understand why you want to not leave any opportunities for anything to go wrong. Dot your I's, cross your T's, get all the Drakes. But I'm going to be real, Contra. The choice to get that Drake. Oh, as a Hextech Ultimatum finds the kill onto Carl here. It's hurting their speedrun time. Amihan losing the world record here.
Yeah, they could actually set a world record and call that the fastest way to actually achieve a win with a 20 over goal lead. Now that's going to be extending to even more eventually. Actually, with this in mind, Amihan Esports look to just do things one step at a time, and they're looking for the second Baron power play right here.
Yep, this will be the second attempt at the Baron. Amihan stepping forward, breaking away from the Baron to take the fight, and they've got an easy kill onto Nyx. Yet again, the front line for Khan just melting. Rumpled. Oh, that was a good Hextech ultimatum. It was spent on to Mitsura to try and stop the Renekton, but it doesn't turn the fight. Momo's the last player alive as a triple kill goes over to Demon, and that will indeed be it. Geek Fam wiped off the face of the map in 15 minutes as Amihan take a statement game, 3 wins in a row in their group. They intend to go all the way here at the Summer Super Cup.
Amihan Esports, you know for a fact that they are not just
Show us the scores!
Well, I want to zoom into the screens just to look at the overall KDs, but we'll get to that later on with the stats. Amihan Esports very likely to top the groups to get the bye straight to the quarterfinals. Oh boy. I don't know what else you have to say about Amihan Esports, the favorites of the Philippine side. And first, Team Secret could be able to actually do just about that, but that we'll leave that for another day. Geek Fam right now just only getting 7 kills out of their efforts, and Rumple not really contributing all too much. He was being forced to even buy a Zonia's really early into the game. And well, what do we have to say about this? Just looking at all the rate bars, it's just Amihan Esports all the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing to do is, if you're watching along at home, start thinking about the groups. Because Amihan now have, like I said, 3 wins in a row. They've beaten Alliance, Bigetron, and now, with their 3rd game in a row, Geek Fam. So they are